Let's look at the schedule. We've got 3 remaining games here, postponed earlier in the week. We have a United Kapow matchup that we're going to play towards the end of things. But remaining, we still have Mighty Storm United. Like I said, that's way later. Noble versus the United, and then Trifecta versus the SPL GateKeepers. Going to be an interesting afternoon. A lot of bonus Smite here. We'll start talking about a Mighty Storm versus United. A Mighty Storm, new roster, taking on, United. How do you feel about this? Because theoretically, on paper, these should be closer.
I think LG and E United right now are 1A, 1B. I'm very impressed by E United.
Wow.
I actually think E United, if they get to Worlds and that kind of, super regionals, that kind of late game push, I think that they year push, not late game. I guess it's the same thing.
Life is a game.
Life is a game. Jesus. But they can definitely win. Like, E United has such good team fighting. Their communications are amazing. You can even hear basically Polar Bear Mike whenever he's playing casuals, like on stream. You know how he is during the SPL.
That's the key there for me, is that it's Polar Bear Mike. I've said it ad nauseum, and but for good reason. Polar Bear Mike is the trumpet behind this squad that keeps them going. They're talented in their own right, but there's something about this leadership that brings the best out of players like Benji, like Scream. These guys are talented, but they seem to be even better. Is it Polar Bear Mike? Am I going too hard on the leader, or is it something else?
I think Polar Bear Mike is definitely doing a lot right now. You can tell, even from what he's told me personally, like a lot of the scrims and communications is sometimes they butt heads, but then Polar Bear Mike is just like, hey, you guys are being really annoying and stupid, and then they go, okay, I'm sorry, and then they win the rest of their games for like 2 years.
and that's a big part of it, understanding, when it comes to professional gameplay, we always talk about the intricacies of the X's and O's and actually pushing your buttons, but managing that sort of personal side of things, we don't really get to talk about that much, but I think that's a key part of E United. Do you think they're going to be able to stay, how you want to say, like copacetic between each other? Do you think that positive energy is going to last enough to get them to Worlds?
I think if they've made it this far, then yes. They went through these tryouts to getting Venenu in there. They knew how his synergy was with the 4 members that they still had. Like, they lose Chaos to us, to hi-rez. But then that kind of happens and they're just fine. Like, they're even better, it looks like. Like, with Venenu, they have this synergy. This issue, I guess people, even coming into the split, they thought that BaRRaCCuDDa was going to be the weak link.
Right.
But he is, like, doing very, very well.
Yeah, he's doing some of the heavy lifting.
Yeah, he's especially on that Thor. It's actually pretty nuts.
Yeah, it's been out of control. We've seen glimpses, hopefully, for BaRRaCCuDDa and his squad. He can keep it up against the Mighty Storm. Real quick, do you think what does the Mighty Storm have to do to topple E United?
I think that they, again, if they're going to be E United, they're going to have to do the same thing they would have done to try to beat LG, which is pull out some jank, pull out some surprise. I don't see it happening. Their synergy is just not quite there right now. They looked okay against ALG, but apparently ALG was playing down to their level.
Sure. So
I really don't know where their bar is. But I think a Mighty Storm definitely has potential sometime in the future.
Well, how about Noble? Noble is going to take on E United as well this afternoon. Do you reckon they have a better shot than a Mighty Storm?
I think they have a better shot. I think that they have carries on their team. They have that wowie hard carry he sometimes pulls out.
Yeah.
The Wubbin. I guess that's all they really have. Wowie.
Well, I don't know. I think looking across at Noble, I mean, you also have Skilled on in the jungle. It's a little fun.
Yeah.
There are some spots that Noble absolutely can look to. Wowie being one of them. Wowie kind of seems to be the unassuming carry, though. He doesn't really try to make it happen. It just sort of goes his way when it works out. I'm really looking at Skilled to be this catalyst. And we've seen moments where Skilled does the right thing. He goes nuts, and he can be that player, but it's not all that often. What keeps Skilled from being the consistent player we want him to be?
From seeing Skilled has been playing forever. At this point, I feel like Skilled like 50 years old, and he's been in the he's like the Brett Favre of the SPL.
I'm too old for this nonsense.
Nonsense. That's also the same line. That's crazy. But Skilled is, I feel like based on his communication, he can say like, I can do this.
Yeah.
I feel like that's his main thing. I can do this. I can make this play. These people are doing so-and-so. Just follow me. I got this.
So do you think Skilled issue in consistency has been lack of teammate following up, or is he actually just a streaky player?
Well, it could be both. Lack of teammate following up could be a bad call. It's not entirely up to your teammate to follow. Even I don't know who the shot caller of that team is 100%. It could just be a multitude of them. Could be anybody. But Skilled making these calls, I feel like when it comes to the team follow-up, they have to just trust. Right now, it looks like they're afraid. They're playing far back, especially, you know, Wubbin missing abilities and just kind of dying. And then, all right, I'm not going to fight for 15 minutes.
I do think the Hell pick last time around, Wubbin is better than what we saw when he played the Hell, so I do expect a little bit of improvement versus the last time here. You said for a Mighty Storm to topple E United, you needed to see some jank. You need to see some weird stuff, some trick up the sleeve. Noble. Can they beat this team traditionally, or do they have to go to the dairy farm and bring out the cheese?
I don't think that they can beat them traditionally up front. I feel like they could win a team fight late game and maybe do it. Maybe based on their team composition, they could pull out something late and try to save face.
Is something like Hebo Jungle good enough?
You know, yes. I'm just going to say yes.
Well, we'll see. I mean, we know that Skilldon has a couple of fun junglers up his sleeve. Trifecta versus the SPL GateKeepers. That's the game we're going to go into next. This one, I think, is going to be very interesting. Trifecta looking like one of the top teams, but still having some struggles. Last week, we didn't see them with Snoopy. They got him back now. Are they going to just step on Pain to Beyond?
Now, Snoopy is back like the dinosaurs, and that kind of thing.
That's mine.
What do you mean?
I don't know.
Okay. But I think this could be a split, and the reason I say this is a split is because I think Trifecta loses game one and reacts to saying, okay, these guys are legit.
Okay.
Because I feel like Trifecta has such a good roster on paper, and they've been used to everything, they've seen everything. They come into the GateKeepers, they say, okay, you know, these guys are new, they've only got Pain to make calls, but Pain against Aurora, that's the matchup that we need to see.
Yeah.
Like, Aurora is not the same player as Pain to Beyond, but they're both, like, amazing players.
It's interesting, though. Aurora plays very close to the ground. What I mean by that is Aurora plays his position, and he plays it to the nth degree. He's going to play weird stuff if the meta demands it, if the team demands it, whereas Pain to Beyond is sort of that player like Polar Bear Mike, where he plays a little bit above the ground, sort of dictating what his players do. One of the things that I think SPL GateKeepers have going for them is that a lot of the players or the teams don't necessarily, I don't want to say disrespect, but underestimate these guys.
Yeah.
Trifecta, on the other hand, their whole career has been underestimation.
Yeah.
You look at Kiki, you look at Aurora, they're used to being the underdogs here. I don't think Trifecta fall into that trap whatsoever.
I don't think they do either. And I want to say the disrespect comes from them being just a relegation team.
Sure.
Like, I think a lot of people expected AI to make it, especially because of their roster. Like, you have the GateKeepers and you see, like, I don't know who Grave is. I don't know who Mando Warrior is. I don't know these players. Like, at the time they had Moswall. Like, some people, you don't even know who those players are.
We're getting to know them now, though.
Well, yeah, we're definitely getting to know them now, and they're very impressive, especially being up at the top 3-4.
Yeah, very surprising to really see them there, and I think this is going to be a really big deal. You kind of hinted at it. You think that they're going to split here?
I think they're going to split, but I think it's going to be reactionary from Trifecta in Game 2.
Yeah, I see where you're going, and I'm gonna have to agree with you. Let's go for your official predictions then. A Mighty Storm versus E United.
2-0 United.
Yeah, I think that one's going to be pretty easy. You got my 2-0 as well. Noble, I think, has a little bit of a better shot, but I still feel E United going 2-0.
Closer games, still 2-0.
And then Trifecta versus the SPL GateKeepers. You think it's a split? I do as well. How about you guys at home? But to bring us the actual action is going to be one more time. It's our favorite students, Graham Hadfield and Ryan Agro Bailey.
Thank you so much, boys. Our meme machines on the desk continuing as always to impress and educate and entertain to the best of their ability.
The best of their ability is a nice caveat towards the end of that.
It's the politest way I could put it.
I was going to give you some stuff for it, but then you threw that little tagline on there, and I was like, you know what? They are doing that to the best of their ability.
The meme machines. That's what they'll be called for the time being.
Yeah, that's a good tag team
Until
name.
we finally get rid of Ron again. That's going to be the
Bless.
name.
That's the time.
Well, like they were saying, we'd go straight in to pick some bands of this wonderful set between these two teams, SPL GateKeepers and Trifecta. Trifecta definitely favourites, especially with their performances at the recent LAN at DreamHack and the performances so far the split.
For me, I still think Trifecta has to lose the title of best team in North America, and if Luminosity continues to play like they have, that they've got to claim E United 2-0 this squad without Snoopy, so there is a little bit of an asterisk there, but they have claim to that as well. But I have a lot of faith in this Trifecta roster. I think they're supremely talented. I think they bend the meta in the right ways, the right spots. And GateKeepers is an excellent measuring stick opportunity for them. How good are they really? They've had some good games. They've looked good against a couple teams. But this is the best team they've played so far, and I'm excited to see how they're going to do.
And just about all these Osiris bands I'm seeing coming out from North America now, is this more of a, not necessarily a throwaway band, just like a certain band it can deal with a 2v1 sometimes? You know?
Exactly. It allows you to do some different things in that solo lane, or you could put it in the jungle. It's just a strong flex pick, and a lot of times it's that team in the first pick position that's banning the Osiris because they know it's a good, but we're not going to first pick it sort of pick.
Surprising to see Chulainn when Camazotz was available, and even more surprised to see the Ganesha picked before the likes of a Terra.
Not me. Not for Pain to Beyond. Pain will first pick this god. The Gatekeepers will first pick Ganesh for Pain.
It's one of those true supports.
It's one of those true supports.
Best way to put it.
It's great at burning objectives. What does Pain like to do? Make objective calls.
Sure.
It's good at baiting. It's good at initiating. Ganesh is really, really solid. All around support, very, very strong. But in Pain's hands, he loves this. And remember when he used to play on enemy and it was just, we'll first pick Athena. No one else is picking Athena as much as we are, but we will. You know, this Ganesh is the new Athena for Pain.
Hurry and Thoth for Trifecta, so there's basically the carries all sorted out. And Sol for the Gatekeepers. Flexible to the dual lane, but more than likely going to be in the mid.
I'd imagine that's going to be in the mid lane. Just so safe there. The early clear is good enough, and then that burst damage in the late game really brings it out of the mid lane.
Very dominant mid lane as well, then, if you put Sol and Camazotz there together in the jungle as a combination. Yeah. Wave clear very strong between the two. And even if you take away one of those two and put Ganesh there instead, wave clear is still solid.
Ganesh's wave clear is so good. Another reason why he's an excellent support to pick, because he can do that sort of leave alone in lane sort of idea where you just put him by himself in the dual lane where the hunter rotates mid. If you're an EU, maybe Gatekeepers will go for that style. Or he just bolsters that clear in the duo lane very, very well.
Well, funny enough, when you actually see what that Jing Wei locking for Gatekeepers there, it tells me they might leave Jing Wei on her own on the left-hand side right at the beginning of the game.
Could be.
And then send Ganesh to mid with Sol, and then Camazotz in the solo lane with whoever.
Could be. That would be a good look for them because of how strong that Ganesh clear is, and Camazotz does so well in that 2v2 fight because you can screech one enemy and then Vampiric Bats the other one, get that extra power buff. It's just that good wave clear and good fight ability as well.
With an Erlang Shen in tow, the pin combination going to be quite strong to set up some free damage. Yeah. If they look for that in the 2v2, it will be Susano and Chulainn if they go for the 2v2 strategy there. Geb, not the greatest in wave clear, although in EU, I know we said we saw Hunters go mid, but we've not seen it so far in NA.
No, and that's usually with Terra because Terra can delay her own wave and then clear the buffs while that wave is held up by those crushing earth walls. Geb can't really do that. He would get too punished being left alone in that duo lane all by himself if the Hunter were to rotate mid. I really like this draft from SPL Gatekeepers. This is a really, really well-rounded, really potent draft from them.
Well, with this composition, it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. Trifecta, the more established team here, only that one roster change realistically, which was Aurora for Ionic when Ionic decided to retire again. Just going to put that out there again.
Yeah.
He may come back at one point.
Could do it.
Won't really surprise me. And then SPL Gatekeepers, mainly on that roster, the one you really recognize is Pain to Beyond. The second one on that list you'll definitely recognize is Day to Remember. That guy has a lot of talent, and he's worked hard to get to the SPL, but he's now getting moments in the sun.
Can't believe it took him this long to get into the SPL. He's always been right on the cusp and has played with SPL caliber players, and everyone else gets poached off the team whenever they don't quite make the cut, and there's poor old Day still sitting in the Challenger circuit, definitely deserving of his spot now in the SPL.
Well, I caught it pretty realistically. Look at this. Snoopy's going to come mid lane here to help out Thoth. So this is a very interesting situation, reminiscent of what we saw coming out from EU recently. Send the Hou Yi there for better wave clear.
And look at where Aurora's going. He's going to the enemy red to use that Hand of the Gods. He wants to get there to steal that away.
Geb jungle. It's going to take a little bit of time, but Hand of the Gods, like you said, it will help him out. And it looks like you can see Day to Remember just focus on clearing the wave out, getting the free farm, not looking to go into the jungle buffs just yet.
He's going to hold it.
SPL Gatekeepers, though, are pressuring the red buff of Trifecta's side of the map right now, but have been forced out.
Now he's going to go to the purple and use the Hand of the Gods there. Good patience by Aurora, just holding that hand until he needs it. Now could head back either to the purple or towards his own wave. He is giving up a full wave if he goes to the enemy purple, so not a bad decision.
Snoopy in mid, going to leap on a killer, the horn, and a killer's going to run for his life. Will be able to get the Disapparate off to remove some of the damage. Stellar Burst didn't find a home on Snoopy, so trade went successfully in the way of Trifecta for now. SPL Gatekeepers on the right-hand side, though, are now invading with that Camazotz and the Erlang Shen. The lane pressure they had in the solo lane has worked in their advantage too. Meanwhile, Aurora's making sure Day to Remember is not going to be able to steal away any buffs.
ShadowChair in a lot of trouble, forced to the Purification Beads. SPL Gatekeepers could go aggressive, but now Sido turns it around with a double pull.
Oh, and everybody's going to live for the time being there. Mando Warrior getting relatively low, but Kiki's so cheeky. He did go for the Death's Toll here, so doesn't have that Bluestone proc that we've seen a few of the Chulainn's go for here. Instead, going for the extra sustain, the extra health coming from this item.
And you do want auto attack a lot as Chulainn, so Death's Toll not a bad option. You want to build up that rage by using the Death's Toll. You do lose a lot of the ability power, though, and Chulainn's abilities swing so hard as is that it is a fairly significant loss in terms of your poke potential in lane, but you do get a little bit more sustain, which is the area where Chulainn really lacks, doesn't have any, and they hell sustain in that kit.
Well, Oracle's going to go the way of Trifecta here. The purple buff is down on the left-hand side. I'm not 100% sure who got it. I believe it was SPL GateKeepers.
I believe it was Day.
But Hog was also used there by Aurora to defend it, so I'm surprised.
Could be. Aurora was able to get Day off of his own red buff, who started off on that invade.
I just wasn't sure because Aurora took red in the enemy jungle, obviously. Then went and used Hog on that purple, but then Data Room was still ahead in experience. That's why I was kind of thrown a little bit about maybe it was Day that did take it away.
Well, remember, Day got a full wave in the left-hand side that Aurora didn't really touch at all, so that's going to be a net experience gain. This is all just in the name of keeping Heroin safe in that mid lane. Now that he's level 4, he clears a little bit better. Actually, level 5, he can be all alone now, or Aurora can be there with him, but Snoopy was going to be safe in that mid lane because of the mobility, and with that extra little bit of clear for Hu-Yi compared to the Geb, it kept Heroin safe as well.
Well, 3 minutes in, and we've not seen the junglers leave this solo lane whatsoever, continuing to farm this side up for the time being. Supports have been sat in the mid lane the entire time too. I mean, I say supports, but Snoopy's technically a carry, and it was left with Aurora in the dual lane on his own.
You know what's kind of funny about this jungler sitting solo sort of meta we're starting to see develop on PC?
What?
SCL did it first, as with all metas.
As with all metas?
Not all metas.
Every meta?
But there are a lot of things that happen on the SCL that a lot of players say, you know, stupid console players.
And it works.
But it ends up really becoming potent. I mean, Guan Yu, Odin, 2 gods that were very prevalent on the SCL for a long, long time, even dating back to when I was playing. Didn't really get discovered on PC until a little bit later on. They've been basically for the entirety of Season 4, mostly since the summer split, they've been setting their jungler in the solo lane and allowing their mid laner to group up with the Guardian in the mid and leave their Hunter alone on the left-hand side. That's something we've seen from them for quite some time.
Snoopy's going to be able to steal away the red buff on the left-hand side, away from SPL GateKeepers, and get back to lane to continue farming. Data Remo wasn't really in a position to defend against that, and that's why you can see they're both equal level as it stands. We'll keep an eye on that. As on the right, though, bit of a fight going on here.
Nice double knock up there from Kiki. Grave, good damage, and now he's going to try and chase down ShadowChair, but can't quite close the gap. That bats will, though.
But 1-for-1 so far, I'm sure Grave will fall to Kiki. Mando were in a bit of a tricky situation, but running towards the rest of the gatekeepers in mid lane will keep him safe for now. Hurrywing couldn't really make an impact with this full minion wave next to him. 1-for-1, so advantage. Definitely gatekeepers, just because they got that first blood.
Aurora knocks away Mando Warrior at the wrong time. That was looking for the slow with the rollout, but made connection right as that rollout became CC immune. Ends up with the knock-up. A little bit unfortunate. I don't think Mando Warrior falls there regardless, but could have potentially at least forced out his ultimate.
Snoopy getting contested for a second by Data, remember, but played it very well. And Snoopy knows exactly the angle over that wall to jump over. That's something that Ho-Yis get stuck on quite a lot now and again.
And that little exchange right there is one of the major reasons, if not the major reason, that Hu-Yi is so strong in this meta, is that his jungle clear and jungle secure is so much better than every other hunter's. Data remembers sitting there watching him while the purple buff's full health, and Snoopy one-shots it with the triple bounce, especially when you're on order side, because that purple bounce is so confirmable.
And that's the funny thing about this, is because like you're looking at Ho-Yi and you're like, he's probably the best hunter in terms of jungle clear, but then wave clear, not as strong as some others in terms of clear there.
No, and it's all his jungle clear is so good because of the way Ricochet works, and that you can set up these guaranteed triple bounces because of the geometry of the jungle. It's a little bit tighter together. You have that opportunity to put buffs where you want them, whereas in the waves, the wave itself is so wide that it won't go for the triple bounce. Now you can set yourself up off of the far wall and hit off the beach side and double bounce the archers to clear the archers a little bit earlier than normal, but even then, at max rank with that Ricochet with Bluestone Pendant, you're going to be hitting those archers and the Bluestone will finish them off. You don't even need to worry about the Ricochet.
Nothing too crazy so far with how this game stands anyway. Pretty much the builds coming through as to be expected. I guess we can touch on Pain Deviant looking towards probably Hide of the Urchin early on, but we've seen so many of those lately. If the game goes long enough, you'll get those stacks online because you'll be involved quite a lot as a Ganesh too, to be fair, with the extra range to do with his passive.
And Aurora went with a slightly different route. He started off with Vampiric Shroud and Bumba's Mask. That gave him that a little bit of extra clear and physical protection with the sort of interesting start that he went for. I like him going for Watcher's Gift right afterwards, though. Watcher's is so valuable.
So he sold the Bumba's Mask at the start? Is that what happened, do you reckon?
I believe he had Bump. Maybe he only used the Vampiric Shroud. Could have been.
Maybe,
I mean, but if he sold the Bumbas right there, then that makes sense because he's not going to get a whole lot of value out of it with 3 other Bumbas on his team at this stage. He's really only needed it for that sustain with the start that he went for.
Nice bit of pressure from Pain Deviant on there. The silence straight after means Aurora can't shield himself. The kill of the Horn on his own, though, can't really do anything to contest that. Right-hand side, talking about contested, Mando Warrior's committing pretty heavily here. ShadowChair Kiki, and Kiki commits perfectly to steal away the buff and walk away to live to fight another day.
Sino helping out with that red buff invade on the left, trying to continue Snoopy's lead in that duo lane. Now looking for a kill of the Hunt in mid, but that silence so good from Pain.
Oh, just off the mark. Hurrywin was so close to connecting with that ultimate through the wall there. Speed buff, like we said, was dropped by Trifecta, defending that one, but he's getting dived on the right-hand side now. Kiki's in trouble. He's going to get angry, but not angry enough in time. Aurora's too late to the rescue, and Mando Warrior, very good job on holding tower aggro for Grave to pick up the kill.
Aurora so close. If he has Blink instead of Hand of the Gods, maybe Kiki lives, but Aurora doesn't get that farm on the left-hand side. That's a trade-off. I mean, Hand of the Gods does a lot for you, specifically in the early game, but Blink, which is probably going to be Aurora's second relic, depending on how Trifecta wants to play this, is very valuable.
Cataclysm on 2, and Aurora's going to invest all in on Mando Warrior. Hurrywin with plenty of support, but it's Hurrywin focused with Pain coming in. Grave goes under the tower and gets a nice bit of damage off. Ultimate available, and Mando Warrior cleans it up with the pin. Pain Divion, good work of tanking yet again. SPL GateKeepers taking it to Trifecta.
Pain's ultimate was perfectly placed there. Puts one end of the ultimate on Aurora, the other onto Hurrywin, strips away Hurry's protections, gets him that slow, that extra damage. And Aurora can't really get in position to body block anything for Hurrywin because of those Dharmic Pillars. Good rotation, and Trifecta wins that 2v2, but it wasn't a 2v2. It was a 3v2 because of Pain's rotation.
Surprised to see ShadowChair not really been able to get properly involved in this game yet, it feels like to me. We just saw that one defense really trying to, and that's where he got the assist from around the speed buff area. But since then, he's just been looking for something, but there's nothing been there for him to find so far.
I mean, Susano's a tough matchup into Ganesh because everything Susano does is multi-staged, basically. I mean, everything except for Wind Siphon. And a lot of times you need to dash in order to Wind Siphon, and that Ohm interrupts all of that. I mean, you can't use your multiple procs of Stormkata. You can't teleport to your Jetstream. You can't even fire off your Typhoon if Pain Divion is silencing you, and that's why this Ganesh pick is so valuable. Every god, it seems like there's something that Ganesh interrupts what they want to do. Thoth can't fire off those hieroglyphic assaults or set up the walls for him to dash through, can interrupt the dash, can interrupt the channel of the Final Judgment to cut down that damage. Everything that Trifecta wants to do in the mid lane is shut down by that Ohm silence.
Well, lovely situation for SPL GateKeepers to be in as it stands. You can see the experience per minute on the left-hand side. 3 out of the top 5 are all SPL GateKeepers. It's only Snoopy that could become an issue for them. Expect to see GateKeepers maybe focus that side a little bit more.
But that's why ShadowChair is also focusing that side a little bit more. He doesn't want to fight against Grave, who's got that lead. Instead, he's going to keep going on to that left-hand side and make sure that Snoopy can continue to steal away this red. SPL GateKeepers hasn't gotten their own red yet this game.
But they've not really needed it because all the pressure's been on the right. But Snoopy could get collapsed on here. Will manage to steal away the red, leap over the wall straight into Pain, who gets a good shield from Aurora to help him out of the situation. Snoopy that was trapped on the Dharmic Pillars. Pain's gonna fall. Aurora in trade, and ShadowChair's the one in trouble too. The bat's in the sky, and as is Jing Wei. And ShadowChair falls back to the fountain, not by choice.
Even Mando Warrior's here. He taunts Snoopy in, who does have his Purification Beads, but wisely holds them and did have to expend the Aegis in that last engagement. Mando's up 2 levels on Kiki, who's also made this rotation.
Gold Fury?
Could be, I think red buff invade's a little bit safer, but SPL GateKeepers want the gold.
Well, a bit of a split the difference here. Snoopy's trying to do red on his own as he's getting aggressed on by Mando Warrior, but it's Kiki who's caught in a bit of an awkward spot. Data, remember, the only one to go aggressive, but it does get the crippling curse out, and then GateKeepers head back to the Gold Fury once more.
They've still got a lot of healthy members. Pain's on the way back, doesn't have the ultimate. No one on SPL GateKeepers have the ultimate, but it's Hurrywin who's got Final Judgment.
And there's Mando Warrior trying to keep Aurora busy so he can't get in range with that hog. GateKeepers get that Gold Fury, extend their lead a little bit more, and Trifecta have not found an answer just yet.
Really good pressure from SPL GateKeepers. Going back to why ShadowChair hasn't been able to make an impact this game, it's been that right side of the map. Mando Warrior and Grave ahead all game.
Yeah, the whole game completely engraved. Now 4-1-1 with the speed buff once again. Pole Demon available. Not really going to be looked at just yet, but you've got to keep an eye on ward placements now. Hang on, right inside, Mando Warrior under a bit of pressure from ShadowChair and Kiki there, but we'll get back to safety, and with Pain lurking in the wings, he'll be okay for now.
Unfortunate that Trifecta hasn't been able to find a kill on the right-hand side, because when you see one side with a horrific emblem, which is Kiki, and then another side without sprint on that side of the map, which is SPL GateKeepers, Mando Warrior instead going for Shell, you assume that there's at least some kill potential there, especially against a god like Erlang Shen, who doesn't have any CC immunity built into that kit, but Sino has not been able to put that pressure on the right-hand side of the map because of the lead that Mando and Grave got early on.
And Kiki and Sino are going to get their own blue buff for the timing, getting a little bit closer towards level 12, where they will get those second relics. Their opposition opponents in the respective lanes have already got those available, at least. Mando Warrior still going to consider what to get. What do we expect out of Mando here?
I think a sprint up against that horrific emblem.
Good call, yeah.
Having one sprint for Pain, good, but when you've got a horrific emblem, you really want to make sure that you have at least one extra sprint so that if you use yours to disengage or try and get away, or you aren't there whenever that horrific emblem gets popped, you at least have another backup sprint to get them out of that slow.
Definitely everyone talking about Gatekeepers and their performances so far. Obviously, when you look at it on paper, a very inexperienced team to the Pro League, but not inexperienced in Smite at all. If you've been around a long time, you would have seen a lot of these games in your ranked games and even through the Challenger circuit.
No, Mando Warrior has been around forever in Smite and the ranked scene. Grave as well. Aquarius, formerly known as Turtle Man. I mean, these guys have been grinding ranked for a long, long time, and it's exciting to see them actually get a chance to prove their stuff against some of the best players in the world. And I mean, we're 13 minutes in against one of the best teams in NA, and they're certainly holding their own.
Well, Paul Demon being looked at for a second by Trifecta, but it might be just a setup to try and bait a couple of the Gatekeepers in. Sinosure, though, he's the one that's been baited. Is he overcommitted there? Forced to beads, great knock-up from Mando Warrior, good disengage from Kiki. Damage from the ultimate coming out from Thoth, but it's not enough to stop Sinosure from dying, as the ultimate is fired there at the end, I should say. And once again, a free kill for Sinosure and another kill for the team of Gatekeepers.
Sino struggling this game. He was the only one who went in on a Pain Deviant, and that's the usual Susano sort of combo. You pull them in, throw the jet stream on them, they dash away, you teleport to it. But that's what Pain wanted from Sinosure in that response, and Aurora's not close enough to really help him. Heroin doesn't want to put himself out of position to try and help him. In great area coverage by SPL Gatekeepers, Aquarius really patient with the ultimate and is actually throws it into the taunt from Mando Warrior. Good teamwork between these two, and they haven't been on the same team for very long. Remember, Aquarius, a new pickup for
here
SPL
we go.
Gatekeepers.
Paul Demon started up. This time round, you'll see Jingwei is over here to contest. Mando Warrior in zone G, but with Aurora turning up, it will force a reset. They're going to commit for a bit of damage here. Paul Demon's going to go down and taken by Gatekeepers. The knockup prevents Aurora from doing anything with that hog, and so a 1-0 exchange, and now the speed being looked at, but Sinosure will defend it for now. Small win for Gatekeepers once more.
Big win in terms of getting that Portal Demon. Small win for Trifecta that Sinosure keeps his speed even with committing the ultimate. Good CC chain by SPL Gatekeepers and confidence, man. That's the one thing that impresses me about this team the most, is that they play with confidence. And that's not something you can always say about these Challenger Cup teams that come in for the first time.
And it's mainly because name recognition. You're a little bit worried when you look across the way and you see Snoopy, Aurora, Kiki, Heroin. Sinosure, people are starting to recognize that name a hell of a lot more these days and recognize he has the ability. But these guys have been around for a long time. Some of them have been to Worlds before or competed in the highest levels of LAN in previous experiences and on top teams.
They're really impressive from SPL Gatekeepers. They get another tower, this one on the right-hand side of the map. Data, remember, knocked down the dual lane tier 1 earlier on whenever SPL Gatekeepers were getting that Portal Demon. So this is Trifecta now only with one tier 1 tower left. That's in mid lane for Heroin. But look at the experience difference across the board. Only Snoopy is close to his opposition. Data, remember, level 16 along with Snoopy.
Yep.
Everyone else really far behind.
And when you looked at the graphs there, you saw the 5.7k and 5.7k, now 6.4 and 5.9. That's basically 1,000 of each to each player.
Yes.
That's the way you got to look it up. So every single lane is technically up that amount of experience, that amount of gold as it stands.
About. Kiki's a little bit farther
Obviously,
behind of Mando Warrior, but that's a good way to think about it, as Kiki just now closing that gap to 2 levels, because Mando Warrior sitting level 15. Kiki's just not tanky right now, not to Grave, who's level 15 already. He's 5-1 and 2. He's got the Jotun's
Huge.
Wrath. And with only level 13, you don't have a lot of base HP, not a lot of base protections quite yet, and only Breastplate of Valor. I mean, that's not too scary for a Camazotz.
Well, Gold Fury has respawned, and this one is going to be very telling, because if Trifecta can pick up this Gold Fury, it would bring them back towards even a little bit closer. However, if Gatekeepers get it, the continuation of this game will continue going in their favor. They're in a fantastic spot if they find it.
This Gold Fury is huge. Trifecta can really cut the gap pretty heavily if they are able to steal it away. And Aurora, only sitting at level 11, doesn't have Blink to try and get in and steal that Gold Fury. Look for Heroine to try and steal it with Final Judgment.
Keep an eye on this data. Remember, just soloing it right now, and Grave on zone duty, keeping Snoopy busy as much as possible. Pain joins the fray to help him out. Kiki on the right-hand side of that fight is trying to help out, but Snoopy will remove Grave for the Gold Fury going down from Gatekeepers. Pain in a bit of trouble here, and Snoopy's done some great work this fight.
But Snoopy can't quite find extra damage because Sino throws the Typhoon too early. Big ultimate from Akilla the Hunt over the wall. And just like that, 3 members of Trifecta are just gone.
They might get 3 in a row. He's got help from Akilla the Hunt too. Heroine trying to at least trade out and can't do so. Snoopy still looking for the kill on Mando Warrior. And it's actually Snoopy that will fall thanks to the help of Pain Devion and the pin coming out from Mando. Deicide the way of SPL Gatekeepers. Gold Fury 2, and straight into the enemy jungle they go. It's not the speed buff they're after, it's the Fire Giant.
These two can 2-man it right now. What an ult by Soul over the wall. Knocked up 3, finished off 3 for SPL Gatekeepers. And again, ShadowChair's ultimate not knocking up there is a huge deal. That Typhoon fired off a little bit too early. He would have had 2 trapped in those 2 E-stuns. Instead, they get away, forces Trifecta up to take an extra step or 2 forward. All of a sudden, all 3 of them are hugging red buff wall, and Akilla the Hunt says, thank you very much. I'll just knock you all up.
With the Fire Giant going down, the sound of doom is signaled for Trifecta now, because they will be on the defensive. They've only got 1 tier 1 tower left remaining, and then it's up to Gatekeepers to bring down the tier 2s and take into account each of those tier 2s were 500 gold each. Pretty useful.
Very useful, and you've still got plenty of gold left on the map for SPL Gatekeepers to take. I mean, that's that team fight was the team fight that Trifecta could have taken. With Data Remember soloing that, they immediately pick off Grave, who's been the major problem for them. Look at how much damage he's doing.
Where you going? Where you going? You ain't going that way. You're not going this way. Has to use his ability. He's trying to get a little bit more buildability on his side, but he ain't going nowhere.
Not anymore. You can't do that anymore, Susano. You can use your ability. You used to be able to use the abilities to get yourself some extra movement speed.
He was using the abilities so that he'd die quicker, so he can get back to base quicker, so he's back on the map quicker. It's genius. It's genius.
That's the play. That's the play there.
I can defend players too, you see that?
Yeah, it was pretty solid.
Speed buff has respawned there on the right-hand side, and Trifecta are lurking there. At least Kiki is, but he can't really do much on his own. With the Fire Giant now in a 4v5 situation, basically, Gatekeepers have just got a minute to okay, let's clear out our own buffs, Portal Demons up soon, and then we can look towards the towers.
The tower is the main thing that Trifecta need to try and defend. Don't think they should try and defend the tier 1. I don't know if they can afford to give up the tier 2, because if they give up 1 tier 2, they should probably give up all the tier 2s, and by that point, SPL Gatekeepers is up 13,000 gold, and at that point, it's too hard to fight into it. Trifecta may want to try and defend a tier 2, but without grouping here,
no one's here.
Looks like they don't want to.
Well, the good news is Aurora has Blink now. He did hit level 12, which means he can Blink initiate for them, which could turn the tail a little bit if they do look for a defense. Defense on mid, like we expected, won't happen here. Right-hand side, though, bit of a swing round from Gatekeepers now. Looking to potentially collapse on Snoopy, who's been lazy farming, I should say. Mando and Pain Devion going to tank it up, Mando mainly, and the minions aren't really with them. They're backdooring this right now.
Snoopy has to jump away, and around the back comes Grave, looking for ShadowChair, who doesn't have had any Aegis available. Look at Grave force 2 back.
Heroine just trying to run away as this stands a Grave to the sky. Swoop, there it is, gets 1. Snoopy takes out another fantastic ult from Heroine for damage, but it's not going to slow Gatekeepers down. They get the tier 2, and it's Kiki instead on the run.
Kiki with the Witchblade, getting a little bit of extra movement speed from the speed buff as well. Gets him out of the ability from Grave. But it doesn't matter. I mean, they can just ignore him. He's only level 14 Chulainn. What does he really do?
And that's what they're going to do, completely ignore him. And Kiki's just trying to, hey guys, I'm behind you. Hey, focus me. Graves like, no, I want the chicken dinner. And he'll find it at least onto Heroine. Phoenix now going to fall in mid.
Oh man, first Phoenix down. Kiki comes around the back and is going to put good damage on the Pain Devion, push him into that Phoenix, which still hasn't fallen. Kiki doing a great job of baiting out cooldowns. Eventually will fall here. Mando getting the credit for his 4th. So mid Phoenix falls to the hand of the Soul and Jing Wei. Can't zone them out for too long.
You always know it's rough when you can see your jungler on the right side just trying to farm up still at this stage of the game. Knowing that your Phoenix is under threat, there's not much they can really do. Trifecta, good performance, I should say, from Gatekeepers more than anything else. What did Trifecta really do wrong here?
ShadowChair got behind and couldn't really fight the right side of the map. For me, I don't think Trifecta did anything egregiously wrong. SPL Gatekeepers just played better in this game. And that, I think that when I was talking about the Mighty Storm Luminosity set, that in my mind, was more along the lines of LG has to mess up. Manda Warrior may have messed up here by being too far forward by himself, but still level 19 or along
He's got supporting Soul and Grave around the corner, but he won't get there in time. Horrywin did get involved in that just a little bit towards the end, at least to close the gap if required. 17-4, and that Fire Giant buff is off Mando Warrior and the rest of the team momentarily.
But this has just been a performance from SPL GateKeepers that is really, really impressive. It's been a team effort. Everyone has contributed. Every single one of these guys has had a highlight moment in this game in my mind. And Data, remember, quietly 3-0-7, has been putting in decent enough player damage, just controlling the objectives well. The team synergy between Pain and the rest of the squad has been impressive. And Aquila the Hun really has stood out to me in this game. His soul has really been impactful.
Not 100% sure about this fight, but it is a 4v5 against a team that doesn't have Fire Giant anymore here, so trying to force a fight here is Trifecta and turn this game around. Kiki, however, though, lost half his health already, and they're still trying to do the goal for you. The call finally comes through from Trifecta saying, nope, we can't do it, and GateKeepers goes, thanks, boys, you did the hard work, we'll pick up the gold.
Problem there for Trifecta is that Horrywin can't get close enough to engage in that fight. That's the best fight Trifecta's going to get in the rest of this game, most likely, is a 4v5 without a level 19 Erlong Shen chasing him down. Problem is, Kiki just cannot frontline. He's level 14. You look at Soul, who's going to shred through him, level 17 with a Rod of Tahuti. You look at Jing Wei, level 20 with Chin Size and a Poison Star. Can't frontline against that when you're 6 levels down and have very little defense, very little health. You just can't ask Kiki to do that frontliner's job, even in the power play situation.
That's also the issue of being a warrior or guardian that's so far behind to the enemy team. You can't even do your job. I mean,
no.
You can try and CC and protect your team as much as you want, but most of the time you're going to be sacrificing your own life just to try and buy a moment for your teammates.
And that's just like when damage dealers are so far behind that they're tickling the opposition.
Yep.
You say, well, you know, they're in the right spot, but can't do their job. It's the exact same thing for warriors that are this far behind. They're in the right spot. Kiki has the right idea, jumping in, zoning away the enemy. Problem is, they could just say, all right, Kiki, thanks for putting yourself in position for us to shred you down.
Well, let's see what we can see on this right-hand side. Horrywin has his ultimate available. We'll be looking for him to make a big play with this final judgment. If he can connect on a few targets or remove one, it could turn the fight around. At the moment, minions are on the way, but Kiki's now down to half health already.
Horrywin looking for it, throws some hieroglyphic assaults over the wall. Snoopy's brought down before the jump, or beats, or Aegis goes off. Typhoon in conjunction with that final judgment hurts Manda Warrior, but doesn't hurt him enough as Grave and the rest of SPL GateKeepers claim another Aurora's number 19, and they get the right-hand Phoenix as well.
And not just the right-hand Phoenix, they're going to go in for the end, and it won't take long for GateKeepers to take game 1 against Trifecta. This young blood coming into the SPL made it through relegations and looking really solid right now.
I mean, you heard him on the desk. If you don't know who Grave or Manda Warrior or Aquila the Hun are now, you should, because these guys just beat one of the best teams in North America, no question.
And it was straight up, like you said, there was no real mistakes out of Trifecta today. It was just superior play.
Look, they made mistakes, but it wasn't like
it was really
we
obvious.
threw the decision,
Yeah.
you know, we threw the game with one bad choice. That was SPL GateKeepers putting Trifecta into positions where they had to make a bad choice. There were some slip-ups there. ShadowChair going in on a Pain by the enemy speed kind of sets some things in motion to set SPL GateKeepers up because they get a Portal Demon after that. There's a couple things that Trifecta definitely need to clean up, but that was it for me. The biggest takeaway is that SPL GateKeepers are a real contender in North America.
Well, taking